Hello you lot, this is KeefCooks, I'm Keef, and today I'm going to make a lovely pie. I'm going to make chicken, ham and mushroom pie with cheese sauce. Oh yeah! Before we start, a couple of thank yous. One to Clifford Ison, my new Patreon fan, and one to Ralph Rowlands, who made a donation via PayPal. Thank you very much, I do appreciate it. And also a shout out to Kim Bradley, who requested anything with chicken or pork. Well, it more or less got them both, so there. And also to Nigel Green, who actually suggested this slightly bizarre dish. It's only bizarre with the cheese sauce. Oh, blue cheese sauce, sorry. I'm sure it'll be marvellous and I just can't wait to try it. If you enjoy this video, press like, stuff like that. Let's get on with it. Okay, I'm going to start by making the pastry. I'm going to use a shortcrust pastry. So I've got 450 grams of plain all-purpose flour, 112 grams, yes, of lard, 112 grams of butter. You could use all butter or all lard if you want, and a teaspoon of salt. So I'll just mix that in with just enough water to make it come together in a ball. So probably not all of that. Right, I'm using the magic machine, so I'll pop the flour and the salt into the bowl. If you haven't got a stand mixer, get one. Or you can do it by hand, just rub it in, rub the fat in with your fingertips. We'll just whiz this till the fat's broken down into little granules and it looks like coarse sand. You can see there's still some fairly big lumps of fat in there, so we need to keep on going for a bit. Now I'm going to slowly add the water until there's enough in there and it all comes together in a ball. Well, I was completely wrong about the amount of water. That was just enough to do it. Now we need to get it off the paddle, wrap it in plastic film and just pop it in the fridge to rest for, well, till we're ready for it, at least half an hour. Now to make the filling, I've got 2 chicken breasts, I've got 300 grams of smoked gammon, I've got half a litre of chicken stock, a medium onion, about 150 grams of mushrooms, and oregano, white pepper and salt to taste. Now the gammon, if you can get a chunk of bacon in one piece, that'll be great as well. Or, you know, lardons. Failing that, actual slices of bacon, but really it's better if you've got big chunks. Okay, need to cut these into dice. As always, when you're dealing with chicken, keep it separate from everything else. And as soon as I finish this, I'll wash the chopping board and the knife and my hands. I'm going to dice the gammon. You don't want your dice to be too big, but I really don't want these bits of fat this time. Headlines: Keefy rejects fat. No. Now I need to top and tail and peel the onion, and you'll notice I'm using the blue seafood chopping board just to annoy any chefs out there with OCD. Sorry about that, not. And I'm running short of time, so I'm going to use the magic knife. And in case you're wondering why I got twice as much onion as I started off with, I used another one because it looked a bit small and lonely all on its tod. Okay, also we need to rinse the mushrooms and, well, just clean them up, and the same procedure. Right, that's all the chopping. Now let's do some cooking. Now I'm going to heat up some oil in a big frying pan on medium heat. I've got a bit of onion in there, and when that starts bubbling, the oil is hot enough to put the chicken in. So I put the chicken in and just stir it round, get it, not brown, get it white all over, get rid of all that pinkness. When you've done that, add the ham or the gammon or the bacon or whatever. And just get those cooked off a little bit and then take them out of the pan. Now we'll add some more oil and then cook the onions for about 5 minutes till they're soft and maybe just a little bit brown, not too much. And then add the mushrooms and cook those probably for 5-10 minutes. Now when the mushrooms have released a little bit of liquid, we can sift in some flour. Just stir that in and get it mixed with any oil that's in there, and that will make a kind of roux and it'll help thicken up the sauce. So cook that for a couple of minutes and then add the stock, stir that in, and just let it thicken, and then we'll put the chicken and the pork back in. When it's cooked for about 10 minutes you can give it a taste, and I have done, and that absolutely doesn't need any extra salt. Mrs. KeefCooks will be pleased to know. But I'm going to put a half teaspoon of white pepper in there and a teaspoon of oregano. And actually one last thing for the sauce, about half a cup of double heavy cream. Okay, let's assemble a pie. I'm going to use this, actually it's a cake tin with a removable bottom, and it's 18 centimetres, 7 inches across. I'll actually, make more than one pie, but just for this video I'll just do that one. And obviously you can use any size, shape, colour, material of pie dish that you like, although actually not material. I recommend metal ones because the heat conducts more quickly. So even though it's supposedly non-stick, a lot of flour in there and some flour on your worktop and on your rolling pin, and grab a lump of pastry. Now we need to put this in there. There is a trick, which you've probably seen me do many times before, but it works. So there you go. Roll it around your rolling pin, unroll it over the tin. Grab a spare bit of dough and use that to push the pastry into the tin, right down into the long corner. Cut most of the excess off because it's just weighing it down. Okay, I've rolled out some pastry for the lid. I know I should have done that first, but I forgot. So I'll just cut around the tin. Leave a bit of a margin for the rim. And then we can fill it. This is still quite warm, actually. Okay, I'm trying not to get too much liquid in there. Okay, so we've actually got most of the meat and the mushrooms in there, and quite a lot of runny stuff left over. That's going in the sauce. Moisten the edge with water and pop your lid on. Now this is completely optional, but I'm going to do a lattice top with my special favourite toy, my lattice cutter roller. I'll put a link down below if you want to buy one of those, because they're great. So get a blob of pastry and roll it really thinly, and it wants to be as wide as the roller plus about 5 centimetres, and it also wants to be 5 or 10 centimetres longer than the pie. Now just cut a straight edge with the ruler and then hold the bottom edge, because as you roll the roller the pastry will tend to want to go with it, and press down as hard as you can and roll it, roll it, roll it. Okay, now I can cut that loose and try and open it out and get that fly out of here. It's very delicate, but worth the effort, I think. You want to heat your oven to 150 Celsius for a fan oven, convection oven. That's 170 for a normal one, and that's gas 3. And then I'll make some egg wash. So you want 1 egg and a splash of milk, and then paint the top of the pie with the glaze. Now the very tricky bit. Roll this around the rolling pin. and unroll it onto the pie. Wow. Okay, I'll just trim that around the edge. And then we'll just paint the lattice with some of the egg wash as well. I did try once before glazing it before applying it to the pie, which turned out to be a disastrous move because it stuck to itself. You could do some sort of rope decoration around the edge as well if you wanted to. I don't. So I'm going to whack that in the oven for 40 minutes or possibly a bit longer and probably turn it round halfway through. Right, while the pie's baking, I'm going to make the sauce. I've got about 100 grams of mature cheddar and about 100 grams of blue cheese. You can use any blue cheese that you like, or don't use blue cheese at all if you don't like blue cheese. But this is actually made from goat's milk and it's called Beacon Blue. Right, so I need to chop, make it smaller. Oh, it stinks, it's great. Actually, I don't need to grate it, I can just chop it small, like a sensible person. Okay, also for the sauce, I've got the liquid from the filling, and I've strained it off from bits of onion and stuff that was in there. I also might need a bit of milk. Usual drill for making a white sauce, you melt your butter, you sift in your flour, give it a good stir, get it all incorporated into like a paste, let it cook for a minute or two, add liquid, let it cook for a few more minutes until it thickens, and then add your flavouring, which in this case is the cheese. Okay, sauce is ready, so I'm going to have a taste. Forget the pie, I'm just having the sauce. That's amazing. So turn it off. I've got some vegetables steaming away behind, but the pie isn't quite browned enough on the top, so I'm going to give it another 10 minutes. Okay, I think we're done, so let's get the pie out of the oven. Look at that. Woo yeah. Right, let's see if we can get him out of the tin. Yeah, baby! Well now, it's taste test time with Mrs. KeefCooks. Hooray!
Good morning, guys.
Very blue.
Yeah, I've had a kip.
Little kipper.
Really nice.
That's quick.
You woke me up.
Oh,
wow. Banquet. How are you feeling, Desperate Dan?
Yeah.
That's huge. It's ever so pretty.
Well, I know, but it'll last a week.
Yeah, I was actually looking at this. I'm not complaining. I'm just wondering. Okay, all I've got here is pastry and sauce. Well, that's all right. Oh yeah. When you said you were doing chicken and ham and mushroom pie with cheese sauce, I thought, that sounds a bit OTT. Very good.
It's fab.
Yeah, that's somewhere on the continuum between gourmet and gourmand.
I think that means it's good.
And I haven't even got to the veg yet. Yeah, so that's got the wifey seal of approval.
And me, I like it as well. So yeah, excellent pie. Get it made.
That was phenomenal. Well done.
Thank you for watching, and see you next time.